Hey guys, welcome to the Atari Series 7. I'm reviewing this, which is the DC Multiverse McFarlane Toys Merciless. So really cool. I built this a couple of days ago, and I had gotten a couple of the parts before that, but I just haven't had time to review it, but it looks so cool. This is the first ever Build-A-Figure from McFarlane Toys. They haven't done a Build-A-Figure yet. They did a Build-A-Batmobile, but it wasn't very popular. So now they're trying the Build-A-Figure format, and I gotta say, it looks so good. I love that they decided to do this, and I think the Merciless is the best figure for this. I mean, he's so detailed. It just makes sense that they could put more detail on him by doing this, so I'm glad that they chose him to be the first Build-A-Figure. I do know some people want this to be a singular release, though, but yeah, I think it's better as a Build-A-Figure. And it looks like it's super metallic blue on camera here as I'm looking at it, but in person it's metallic blue, but it's also kind of more of like a tealish blue. So just keep in mind the colors that you might be seeing on here aren't as dark as how it actually looks. But let's start off with the head. As you can see, it's got the bat ears back there. This is a combination of Ares, Batman, and Wonder Woman, sort of, from the Dark Knight Metal universe, so obviously it has a lot of themes from them. I love the little sharp things that go across the mouth. They just look so cool. And also, too, I think I mentioned this in whatever video I reviewed the head, but these orange eyes aren't actually painted. They're a separate molded piece that's molded into the head, and you can see that when you look underneath the head. So I think that's pretty cool. He has some chainmail going on, molded like down in there, and then he's got kind of like this fur here, which is plasticky. But if you look on the back, it looks so cool. I really like that. And then he's got his shoulder pads. And you'll just notice what I was talking about earlier is, in terms of detailing, like, he's completely sculpted all throughout here. He's got little sings, and then he's got these little cuts, like, all throughout him. He has some really nice detailing. And you can see the chainmail continues down here. He's got these spikes there, and then he's got kind of like a bat, almost kind of like gauntlet-looking thing. But again, it has that cuts in it, which just looks so nice. It's so circular. His fists almost have like knuckles on them, like really sharp brass knuckle type looking things. And again, it's looking like super dark on my camera, but in person it's actually more of like a tealish blue, but it does look really good. And then here we have the emblem, which is just probably the greatest Batman emblem I've ever seen. It's a bat with the Wonder Woman logo inside of it, and it just looks so cool. I absolutely love this. And then you can see some more lines going down. He's got kind of a skull and a chain there, and then again, the kind of like cloth, which looks pretty neat. It kind of would have been cool if it was actually cloth, but to be honest, I actually think that would hurt it worse. And then moving down, like his arms are mostly the same, and he does have his legs, which again are more or less the same. They do have the spikes in them, which is cool, on the knee pads, and then his toe kind of has a little bit of a spike there. But it's really cool because the detail is very consistent and it's very good. And I have seen some Build-A-Figures where you get them and only one half looks good, like the other part doesn't look as good as the other one, but with this Merciless figure, it really is very consistent here, and I like that. His sword is very big. You can fit it into one hand. I don't think you can really get him holding it with both hands. You might could if you tried, though. And the indents on the sword are very nicely sculpted, and they're kind of similar to what's on his armor, too, so that's pretty cool, and I do like that. Now, going over articulation real quick. In terms of articulation, he's got a 360 of the head. He can look up and down, but does get kind of hindered due to this. His shoulder pads are on a ball joint and can rotate 360. And something I do want to mention here is you're supposed to get these little pieces that kind of cover the inside of this for the butterfly joints. I did not put them on my figure because I could not actually get them to go in and pop the arm. You can still kind of move them like a butterfly joint, but it's just like kind of noticeable. You can't notice it if you have the shoulder pads down, but just keep that in mind. Personally, you could probably put on yours, but mine were a little warped and they just wouldn't fit in with the arm, and I'm going to be honest, the way they were going, I kind of didn't like them, and I kind of like it a little bit better like this, so just be careful with that. But the arms do have 360 rotation, and they do swing out, which is nice. There's single joint elbows, which are pretty cool, and the wrists rotate and go up and down. He's got this torso joint that allows him to rotate 360 and also move kind of like an ab crunch. I mean, basically an ab crunch, but there is also a torso joint there that allows him to rotate, I believe. And the legs go forwards, backwards, and outwards. You have a free, well, I don't really think you're supposed to have a 360 at the thigh. I just think the knees aren't plugged in all the way there. But if you don't plug it in all the way, you can get a 360 at the thigh. So I might need to force that down a little bit more. You do have a single joint knee, which is good, and then the feet move up and down and go side to side. And then he's also got the toe articulation, which is pretty cool. And to give you an idea of his height, here's him with the Cyborg Spiderman figure from Marvel Legends. Cyborg Spiderman is a 6-inch figure. The Multiverse figures are around 7 inches, but just to give you kind of a look there, And here's Merciless paired up with the figures you need to complete him. And I do think this is a pretty good assortment. I think it's a pretty good wave. I like the idea of just doing 4. I think 4 was good. That was something that Mattel started in their very end of their run with the license. They did 4 figures, and I think 4 figures makes more sense, to be honest. But yeah, and let's move those over here real quick. Here's a comparison with the Devastator. I've heard a lot of people complain about the Devastator, saying he should have been Build-A-Figure so he could be bigger, but I'm going to be honest, like I said earlier in this video, I think it would have actually been worse if they swapped these two and made Merciless the one that was in the single wave, because Merciless just has so much detail, and I don't think they could do that on a $20 figure. I'm okay if the Devastator is a little bit shorter, and in his own right, the Devastator is an amazing action figure, so like I said, I don't really care. Here's a comparison with Flashpoint Batman. He's one of the most recent figures they've done, so I thought it'd be pretty cool to scale those two together. And then lastly, here's a comparison with the On-Chained Armor Superman. So overall, I think this Merciless action figure is pretty cool. He's really big, he's really detailed, and, you know, he just looks great. He looks like what he's supposed to, and I think as far as Build-A-Figure goes, I think McFarlane has knocked out of the park here. I think they've done a pretty good job. I don't know if I'll pick up all of the ones they're playing. I think they're planning to do a Bane one, and there's somebody else they're doing. I think it's like Darkseid as Batman, or Batman Darkseid. I don't know if I'm going to pick up those two, but I definitely think the Merciless was a really good job, and I think McFarlane is proving that, you know, they're really just giving us a different kind of quality compared to what we had from Mattel. And I'll be honest, this might offend some people, but I actually feel the quality on some of these figures is actually better than what we're seeing from Hasbro on the Marvel Legends, because we're seeing a lot of repaints and reuses over there, and I know that this is a new line, so they're kind of having to do new sculpts, but I just feel that a lot of this stuff is very detailed, and I think they're doing a really good job with it, and I'm just excited to see how far they go. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please rate, like, and subscribe.